Hey guys, welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast, YouTube channel. I don't know, wherever you're finding this. And really, we do a lot of live interviews. We do a lot of course, our podcast content. And then every now and again, we try and do a live. And today I get to interview a new friend that I've met through a group of business owners and entrepreneurs that are wanting to win in all areas. It's called Gathering the Kings. I've mentioned it before. And so I've met some people in various businesses. And today I'm talking to Hamid, who does really amazing stuff. He is a digital consultant, CEO, and founder, top ranked digital agencies, one of the top ranked. And he does all kinds of code stuff that I don't know. And he'll probably talk about that. He does a lot with e-commerce, a professional e-learning platform, also has a book and a lot of other amazing stuff. So we're going to talk about, me as a financial agency and him as a digital agency. What are the similarities? What are the differences? What can we learn from each other? And what can you learn from us as we somewhat don't know about each other's industries that well? I'm a marketer, but I swear I don't know anything about social media. I wish. But anyway, here is Hamid. There we go. Hey, welcome, Hamid.
Welcome and thank you for having me on the show, Brandon.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited because you are part of a group that we're a part of, the Gathering the Kings community. I think you're the one that comes the farthest, even though it's online. But I think you're the through the digital airwaves, you come the farthest, I think. So tell us a little bit about you. Apparently you're not from Georgia. Um, So where are you from? How did you get into this world? And let's dive in.
Yeah, I mean it's a very exciting journey. My studies was actually from Pakistan, but then back in 2015 we had the business set up in New York City. And before 2014 and 15, I've been working in a lot of Fortune 500 companies on different levels, starting from their handling their business development and marketing teams to handling the trainings and then handling the quality assurance and the reporting part and everything. So
Nice.
kind of taking all of that, and then what one of the difference I made because my studies is actually I'm an MBA in leadership. But then I converted my career a little bit into the tech side. I performed certain certifications. I studied from Harvard Business School back in 2020 for digital marketing strategy. And then we did some certifications for PHP, HTML, CSS, marketing, SEO, and all. So that's kind of like mixed background which I have. But then from area point of view, since 2015, we've been headquartered in New York City for our software development and digital marketing firm or agency that we have.
Yeah.
And recently I personally moved here in St. Louis. So right now I'm in front of you.
So what I heard from this is you're really smart. Really. Um, and if you guys didn't hear that, he said a whole lot there. But master's in business. You say Harvard?
Harvard Business School, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. I'm not a Harvard grad, so you're gonna have to dumb down everything for me, because that's kind of the way it is for me. Thank God, my wife went to U of C, so she's really smart. Um, you know, all you guys, you smart people, uh, sometimes it's a bit annoying, but um, so guys, as you're listening, if you're like, wait, go back, make this first grade level. This is something I'm also learning, and I am an expert. I know stuff so much in the financial services, and what we're going to have to do, and what even I met with one of the people in the Kings, Carl, who
Yeah.
might be here at some point, and he's like, you gotta dumb this down. And I'm like, we know so much, and we want to educate everything, right? We want to, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
So dumb this down for us. What do you do, and how do you make people successful in what they do?
Yeah, so there are actually two aspects. One is my agency. So
Mhm.
my agency actually works with small medium brands, work with a lot of e-commerce companies, and we have a segment for large healthcare companies and B2B businesses as well. And we do their digital transformation. So starting from their paper environment to a paperless, like building a software applications for them or web development or web designs for them. But then my personal expertise is more towards marketing side. So I work with a lot of brands in their growth and ensuring that they are being successful locally in their presence and they're being boom.
Yeah.
And what I love is getting a lot of business for my clients. It could be lead generation, could be SEO, could be ads, could be B2B, anything, which makes my customers successful. So that's one part which I do. But then which my agencies do. Like we have a company called Software Pro, which is focused on software development. One is HTML Pro, Ecom Development NYC. So different niches that we have for different sort of personas that we target. And then another segment which I have is I recently wrote a book that's called Seven Figure Agency Mindset A to Z, and that is sitting on the top of the funnel and seeing that what different agencies are doing and finding all those issues and challenges which I saw. So I started working back in 2006 till 2024,
Yeah.
about 18 years, sometimes working two jobs, three jobs. I don't know like how many years it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So combining all that expertise, but not only like putting that on the paper, but analyzing the human behaviors, a lot of mistakes that they do in throughout their life and career and professional life. So I put that everything into the book, and then I've been doing a lot of so I do the boot camp too for training the entrepreneurs on their mindset and the right ways of booming their companies nationally and internationally, scaling to seven figures. So two sides. One is for software development or online marketing for end clients, and one is for tech businesses or agencies like us who are looking to thrive nationally or internationally.
Nice. I think that's again knowing your lane, and also I bet you learned a lot of. Well, it's probably changed a lot over the past even 6 months. I don't know. It changes every time with all of this. Um, However, I bet you learned a lot about psychology, um, and most businesses psychology, and how have you used that in regards, human behavior and then all this technical stuff? Like, how do you bridge those two?
I think I speak more on psychology. So my book has the word called mindset. Mindset is all about like psychology.
Yep.
So I saw like especially back home in my country in Pakistan, a lot of friends were making like they were focused on making up to $5,000 a month. When I knew their potential. They had the potential of making even 50,000 or even double a
Mhm.
month for having the agencies as well. So it was just a psychological gap which I actually found, and then I try to embed that whatever you're thinking is not the end word. So it's just a start, and it probably you're actually stopping your brain from the growth as well. So there is actually a mindset or the psychology which I train and share with my friends. Number one about the mindset to think big.
Yeah.
Number two is about multiplying as soon as you get the formula. So from financial side, so let's say if you're making $2,000, there is a formula that you're selling a human for, let's say even 100 hours a month or
Yeah.
maybe 80 hours a month, and you have a formula that you sell this way and get $2,000. How about like you 10x this? How about if you 50x this? And that's
Yeah.
what we call agency, right?
Yeah.
So we are agency means agents,
Yeah.
right? So we are agents driven, and then we onboard the client, and then we have customers. We have customers who need our services, and then we have resources who do that work, and we stay in between both the parties as an agent, and that's why we call the agency, right? So I've been working a lot on their psychology to actually learn the business side. I know you could be an expert. You could be a digital marketer. You could be a financial consultant.
Yeah.
You could be a software developer. But it is completely different from uh, doing good business. Doing good business means all about psychology, people management, client management, and the mindset that takes you to the seven figures, and the habits that
Yeah.
takes you to the eight figure and nine figures. And you might find that after a certain level, like once you reach seven figure, then in order to achieve like eight figures or nine figure, the set of traits are almost equal for all the entrepreneurs. And this is what we need to transform as a business owner, that what traits do we need to actually achieve seven figures, and then what areas that you have to change. uh, and I can tell you that about the transition which I had. I've almost like cut down 75% of all the areas where which have been defocusing. I've been discussing that into the mastermind too, right?
Yeah.
So it's a transition about the mindset and psychology, and then ensuring that your financial gains are actually met as well. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I could talk about this for hours, right? And what you said was habits. What we do, we become, right? And then also from the habits, I see this in the same in finance, right? And people are like, yeah, but I don't have this. I'm like, well, that's because you haven't done anything. You know, if you want six pack abs, you got to go to the gym. If you want a good financial foundation, you got to at least save and build a good foundation. But it's the little habits over time that lead to the results. And then at the same time, auditing, which you probably do and teach your agencies, of saying what's not working, what is working, focus on the 20%, drop the 80, or like keep evolving to know. But you have to, in the end, know yourself and have those goals in place. If you don't have those, you can't grow. And that's the problem in our world, and why marketing is so psychology driven, is because people just want a quick fix.
There we go.
Don't want to ask the questions of what do I want.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm always, when I'm doing a analysis, people are like, yeah, but make it easy. I'm like, well, no, I can't. I have to get the right data to make it deploy or um, deployable for you to use it, right? And that's a hard part, because I have to ask, what are your dreams? Not just Disney World, but what do you want to achieve in life? And I think as we solve big problems, we become seven and eight figure businesses. But if we're not clear ourselves, well, then what's the problem? Us.
exactly the mindset which I spoke about. That I think it's a human psychology. The number one thing is they don't trust themselves because they don't know themselves. They don't trust themselves. They can ever achieve it. I
Yeah.
remember like I went to watch the FIFA 2018 back in Russia, and then there was like a lot of students who were doing volunteering support. So when I told them about my businesses and all, they said, "Oh, I cannot believe I'm talking to such a person like you," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I then realized that a lot of people actually cannot even believe that they can achieve. So number one is you have to have the belief that you can achieve. And then what to achieve, of course, is before you even start believing it.
Yeah.
And number three is the right steps one by one. Again, sometimes we need quick fix, and then we want to stay calm. And sometimes we want to do it so quick that we want to have everything in one go. Both are not possible.
Yeah.
Uh, so there is a career path, there is a step by step way
Yeah.
that you actually have to go one by one in order to make sure. So the marketing works the same way. We do the marketing all the time. The way it works is so marketing has three to four different dimensions. One is the awareness,
Yeah.
where you tell people about you, and then one is engagement, where people start interacting with you, and one is the conversion, when people start doing business with you. Now if you try to implement the conversion strategies into the awareness phase, people are going to reject you right away, right?
I think,
So
can you say that again? We have awareness. Let me add this. I want to, so people
yeah,
can write notes, right? So there's three stages. Awareness,
yeah.
right? What's the other one?
The second one is engagement,
Yep.
and the third one is conversion,
Here we go.
and the fourth one is brand advocacy.
And conversion. That's a good one. I'm putting this in here so that way you guys, we're going to go back to it. And brand advocate, is that what the next one?
The last one, fourth one, yeah.
Because again, as you guys are growing a business, I don't care whether it's a, um, I don't know, a garage door company. We know people that are in that in the group, or it is, I don't know, a house cleaning company. I'm just naming stuff. It's all the same, right?
Also, yeah,
So, and this is the thing I'm going to go back to this. I've learned I can sell, I can do all of this stuff. And what I'm learning, and I was meeting with some other people, really good at my present. I'm a utilitarian, and so I know what I can create for people. Financial, I can solve problems easy. However, I need to build awareness, and most people love the wrapping paper, whether it's a fancy website, big SEOs. How do you think about awareness? And this is, I guess, Perry Marshall. Do you know? Have you ever heard of him? He has like the triangle, and it's like going awareness is very similar, right? And so, how do you help people become aware? What do you do that? And then, I know we've already talked about mindset a little bit, and I know this might be more tactical.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
what tactically would you say? Yeah, you don't need to do tactics yet. You need to do this. What do you think people miss all the time when it comes to awareness?
Yeah, so in awareness stage, you actually do not sell directly. You tell who you are, and you only talk about the value. Now think about your new. So I'm new into the St. Louis,
Hmm.
except I have a few friends here. They have a community. So if I have to penetrate, I should not start selling right away. It's not a right approach. What is the right approach? So what I decided uh, on this weekend in St. Louis, I'm doing a free meetup where I'm inviting the local business owners, and I'll throw in absolutely absolutely free session, coffee on my side, and everything. Now, while trying to get those 30 to 40 signups, we may end up outreaching about, I think, 10 to 15,000 contacts minimum in St. Louis, right?
Yeah. How did
And
you reach those? What did you do?
so we use a tool called Apollo and Sales Navigator.
Gotcha. So was
So
that like ads or to reach
no,
those?
it's a data tool. It's
Okay.
a data, yeah, it's a data marketing tool.
Yeah.
So we extract the data from Apollo and also the Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is the paid version of LinkedIn, and then we have outreach funnels set up to invite them, tell them about the event. Sometimes we email them. We use AI, and then we so as soon as I have the data, so I have a data of about like 9 to 10,000 locals in St. Louis. So I made a Eventbrite account. There is paid setup as well. You can send up to 2,000 emails a day
Yeah.
from Eventbrite. So we have pumped in the emails out there, inviting everyone. We're getting the traction. People are asking what's going on,
Yeah.
was it for, what kind of value will be given if I'm eligible. So again, in this and this I know I'm not selling right now over here.
Yep.
Totally the awareness stage. Tell people that you exist here, and
So,
what do you do?
so what I heard though is you spend a lot of time and money, it sounds like, to build awareness. Most people want to go from, well, not even awareness, they want to go to conversion first thing. Um,
Exactly, and that's why we call a term called conversion rate optimization, and
mhm.
that actually goes down, and that is because you're trying to make sale when people do not know about you. You're
Yep,
trying to make sale when people do not trust you as a person,
yep,
and then you're trying to make sale when people feel you're not the right person, right? So unless or until people can actually feel that you're an authority, you are an expert, you have the right knowledge and expertise, uh, who would you send the money to? Who would you hire for website design? Who would you hire for probably doing any XYZ services?
yeah,
You will do the due diligence, hire the right people, hire the person who you trust,
yeah,
and it may not be the first time right away. So you'll do the due diligence, and the first person that comes into your mind may have done a lot of work on the branding itself on you,
yeah,
which could be email, which could be messages, which could be maybe referrals. Something have done already to you, and that's why that person came into your mind, the mindset, right?
yep,
So yes, I believe that there has to be a proper awareness stage, and once people actually know about you, then they will start interacting a little bit about you. Uh, and once they start interacting with you, then of course you have to do good service. Your
mhm,
site has to be good. Your platform has to be extremely converting. And then after one day, I mean, you can just go ahead and start putting up a promotion or give them a catch that they really feel the value of getting in touch with you for the first time.
yep,
uh, like a lot of companies you will find who would acquire you without even having profits. It is because that is a conversion funnel where they are giving you a catch,
yep,
and you're saving money, but you're actually spending money over there in that conversion. And once you get into that conversion funnel, then you get actually trapped into their retainers for 6 months, a year, and then they make money with the customer lifetime value.
yeah. It sounds like some of that they call it a tripwire or
There you
something
go.
like
Yeah.
that. Again, I know some of the language. You know, is they have a low level offer at some point and then they increase that.
Yeah.
And I think that's been our biggest challenge is awareness. Also, I'm in a space that is very opinionated, and often a lot of things are said that are wrong. Probably same in um, your digital agency world. Is
Yeah.
there's a lot of, oh, I just started a job. I'm going to be a digital agency because I'm on Facebook all the time. And you're like, no, you aren't. Or the life coaches, right? How many life coaches all of a sudden you're like, seriously, you can't be a life coach. Your life sucks.
Correct.
Um, I don't know. I don't want to say that. If you're a life coach, I'm not talking about you. Um, it's all those other life coaches that you know who they are. Um, but I think that that's the challenge is there's even from a financial standpoint, I like to ask people, okay, you're a financial advisor. What are you doing with your money? How are you growing yours? And that's a really a key indicator. So what I like hearing you say is not only do I do it, but I practice it. I just moved to St. Louis and I'm doing what I said, not just telling you, you know what you should do. Um, I hate that. Um, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then let's talk a little bit about the financial part.
Hmm.
Uh, so one of the mistakes which I found in a lot of companies is they never check the books. Number
Hmm.
one, they never check the books properly. Number two, they never know how to check the books because they don't have a financial background. And a lot of so since I do mentoring of a lot of entrepreneurs who are agencies, they have zero financial background and they have no idea how to separate. Okay, that's your production cost.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your project management cost. All right, that's your sales and marketing cost. That's your overheads, and then that's your XYZ other expenses, and then that's your profit.
Yeah.
And hardly I've seen companies ensuring or they know that how to calculate the profits, and then and since then they don't know how to calculate the profits, they're doing a lot of work, but then essentially they're not making enough money,
Yeah.
or they don't even know how to price, and that is because they don't know how the price is composed.
Yep.
Why would I charge you $100 hour for one thing and then just $25 an hour on another thing? What's the criteria behind it? And why would I charge you $300 an hour for an X amount for any X service? Why? There has to be a why.
Yeah.
Okay, and that why is actually being calculated by uh, how much expertise are you keeping on the back, what are their production value, and then how much money had to spend in order to get or acquire such a customer, right?
Yeah.
So if the value is low, then of course the money required to get such a customer is low as well.
Yeah.
And if the value is high, so you need more cost per acquisition as well. So I would love to hear from you as well,
Yeah.
uh,
I think,
from pricing point of view and from
yeah.
profit first policy, and then we spoke about insurance. We'll take it to the next question, but let's figure this out first.
Yeah. So first thing is you got to know what kind of business you want. And if you're trying to compare yourself to, I don't know, the Ubers of the world. I had a client telling me, I just want to be like Uber. I'm like, you realize they're not profitable. You realize that they're just asking for money from their investors, and they are really just, and that's our model. Oftentimes, is we from a tech startup, right? We look at Shark Tank, and I sometimes hate Shark Tank because I'm like, wait, that's not a profitable business. That is a cash eating monster, is what that is. And they're like, yeah, I just need $1 million because then it's going to blow up. And you're like, really? Is it? Maybe, and as a investor, I like Mr. Wonderful because I'm like, yeah, he knows, and he's like, I'm gonna take a, what do they call those? In perpetuity, all this crazy stuff that he says. I'm like, yeah, that's totally makes sense. So you have to know your business, right? Are you gonna be one that you're just gonna like eventually sell it, which is most tech companies don't sell. We're not all
Yeah,
Facebook, even though we all think we are,
yeah,
right? And so you have to know that, but also run a profitable business, right, from the beginning. And so what I love about Profit First is you might have a influx capital that you need to get it going, but you can't live as a nonprofit. You're a business, right? Otherwise, you're a nonprofit. Right?
yeah.
That's kind of what it is, right? When you have to ask for funds to grow. So what Profit First is just breaking down that dollar into different buckets. So you first have your top line, all the money coming in. You subtract mats and subs, this is your contractors and your other people, right? That are not part of the business. That you're
Yeah.
just buying equipment, right? Or whatever. So then most people think, oh, well, I brought in 100,000.
Mhm.
And I'm like, or a million, whatever it is, right? And they're like, yeah, I got all this money. I'm like, no, you didn't actually. Your business is actually real revenue, 200,000, not
Yeah,
a million,
yeah.
right? So
The
then,
revenue is not profit. The
yeah,
revenue is not profit.
yes, exactly. And people are like, yeah, but that's, and so when people say the 7, 8 figure business, I'm like, yeah, prove it. I want to see it. Um, because there's a lot of, again, fakeness out there, right? So then say you're using it and you're running 200,000, but then you divide that up into the four various things. You have your first profit first. You need to make sure, like, if we're expecting a return from um, Tesla, we should expect it from our own business, right? Profit. uh, and then we have taxes. All these, some of these business owners, I'm like, really? How do you not? It's not all your money, um, and they forgot that they owe. It's not theirs, so they need to have a bank account for taxes,
Yeah.
OPEX, and owner's pay. Now, what we're asking is, how do we know when to invest and when not to? Well, if I've broken those down into the various percentages, that OPEX is going to tell me whether to spend or not, whether it's Facebook ads or a new website. OPEX will tell me. Now, as we build the percentages or as we grow in our business, the percentages are going to shift, right? I'm not going to make 50% if I'm a $3 million business. I might make 20%
There you go.
owner's pay, right? But we need to have the percentages. And I'm not a bookkeeper or budgeting individual, but I like to be able to see the P&L and be able to say, can we do it or not, real fast? Is it working or not? And that's why I like that system, because then I can say, are we doing okay? Oh, also from a lead acquisition point of view, if I'm not having enough leads, that's going to hurt me in 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to be looking at that and saying, okay, what do we do to feed the top of the funnel to build that? And, but if we are just spending money like drunken sailors, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
And too many people are doing that with the hope and pray method with Facebook ads. I think they're like, oh yeah, it'll just work. I'm like, well, no, you don't have a plan, right? Does that make sense? And so it's just a way of distilling it, because as I'm running the team, I'm going to have somebody, and I want to be able to say, chief marketing officer, what's going on? Okay, I need to look at all of this, right? And I think that's a problem, because most people will just delegate it and say,
Yeah.
I'm not good with money. I'll just give it. I'll make more money. And like, make and keep is really important.
Exactly. Saving money is making the money, right?
Yeah. But then where you save it, this is where I love what I do with the infinite banking side, is I have different bank accounts. I just happen to use one of those accounts, happens to be in a life insurance policy that I'll personally own, and then I'll become my own line of credit for my business.
How does that insurance policy works, like you mentioned before?
Yeah, some is okay. So if I have a policy on me as a business owner, you're the greatest asset. You should insure the greatest asset, right?
Yourself.
Yourself. If something happens to you, your family's going to be distraught, right? Kids, and if you have a wife and kids, like, that's really important. So we insure our house. We do all of this, but we think it's different for us. And I think you don't just stop insuring this. This is why I love whole life, and I don't do IUL, but specifically designed whole life policies that are built for cash accumulation, because your biggest
How does the process works?
yeah, I have to do, like you, a deep dive in their goals to figure out what is it that they want, right? What is it that they want? How big of a vehicle are we creating? Is this a full service kind of deal, or is this we're going to do a smaller amount, right? Because it's all one wallet, in my opinion, right? And so that's why it's so important to ask that. And then the insurance company qualifies the person to say, okay, well, you're a type 2 diabetic that smokes cigarettes every day. Probably not as good of a risk. It's a bad risk for them. They're not going to do it, right? If you're a business owner and your habits are good, you're probably healthier. Maybe drinking too much coffee, but and so I think that that's a really important thing. And then one of the things I think about is every one of us is in the business of banking. It's either the IRS or banks. I mean, you do a lot of online sales, right?
Yeah.
How much just goes off the top, 2%
Yeah.
to banks?
3%.
2-3 minimum.
Yeah.
What I learned is, don't do what the banks tell you to do what the banks do. Why are they the most profitable business in the world? They've known how to be convenient for everything. So we have to learn, how do we build that into our system and be the banks, right?
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm like, I hated when I had the coffee shop. I'm like, seriously. We have the IRS, who would always ask for money, never
Yeah.
show up to work, theirs. And you would have the credit card bank companies and all of this money that would go out. And I'm like, wait, are they they're I'm not they don't even show up to work and they get all this money. And it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Um, we still deal with it. We can't like totally get out of it. But even during COVID, they made money. They're making money with high inflation. I don't know if you know. Do you know who Jamie Dimon is?
No.
Yeah, he's probably more powerful than the president, right? And you don't know, right? He's the president of J.P. Morgan Chase. And I'm like, yeah, those people run the world, in my opinion. So learn
Absolutely.
from them.
Absolutely. So, what do you think is the ideal percentage a business owner, agency owner should have from the business profits? Like, is it 25%, 20%? And then let's say if a business is saving 25 to 30%, how much they should withdraw every month or quarter as a business owner, depending on what do you think is the best option for it?
It depends on the size of the business. And what I've heard is there's two sides of business owners, some that are never paying themselves and reinvesting everything,
Yeah.
and they have a cash eating monster, and some that are overpaying themselves and think the business will just pay for it. And I'm like, the business is you. Even though you're taking a tax write off and it's coming from the business, it's coming from you because you're the business owner,
Yeah.
right? And so there's two different sides, and then those percentages from a profit first. I usually do a 5% profit. Owners pay is optimally 50, depending on where they're at in their target allocation percentages. And so you just have to look at it. But most of the time, what I've seen is most people are running they're running a hobby, right? And it's a very expensive hobby. And they're like, I'll get paid eventually. And you're like, no, I'm just going to sell it. And then that's going to be my retirement. I'm like, is that, is that a good retirement plan? Because even digital agencies, where things are going to go, I don't know where the future holds, but
Yeah.
I know that a lot of boomers are trying to sell their business because they had hardware stores or things like that, and they can't sell it because who's going to go to a hardware store when you can go to Amazon?
Yeah.
And so it's a challenge, and they
I
were
think it's the cash flows. It's the cash flows based on recurring basis because I've been into some evaluations of some agencies too, and the best agencies are where the cash flow is always growing up
mm-hmm,
month by month, and then you have more retention of the customers, and then you as a business owner has less to do with the business,
yep.
and the business is more on automation. What do you suggest on that?
I think this is why people have the idea of streaming services or online communities that people join, right? We're part of one. We give money to one every month,
Yeah.
right? It's a recurring revenue model
Yeah.
that, as long as they're there, it continues to build, right?
Great.
And you build more of that. That's a good foundation, right? And so I think that's really important, while also knowing, hey, sometimes I can just solve a problem and I can do it really fast for a good amount of money, maybe $10,000, right, or whatever. And you say, well, I can do that, and then you don't need me. Now you have to balance those two things.
The
And I
fixed
think,
cost versus retainer.
yeah, and I think there's both. And also for us, I've thought about this. For me, as I'm an activist,
Yeah.
I lower my prices. I know we have a book that we've written. Five Smooth Stones is the book. You can't see it, but I'll get it over here. So it's right there. Five Smooth Stones. We wrote that book.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
I can't sell the book to save my life, right?
Yeah.
You probably know sometimes it's really hard to sell it
Yeah.
because it means that people have to think, right? However, what I'm learning is if I said, oh well, $10,000 program that I've created, done it once, and I'll give you the book for free, probably I could sell the book, right? And you're like, wait a second, for real? Um, it's 30, $40 for 10,000, but it's the perceived value, right?
Value.
And
Exactly.
and I think that there's benefits of both. Anyway, just thinking about, and it's really hard as an activist to say, oh, well, I want to keep increasing my prices.
Yeah.
But it's you have to value yourself and the value that you bring to other people.
So, what is the message? I've been watching to the digital agency owners is sometimes they're gonna withdraw all the cash out. They're
Hmm.
gonna buy the assets,
Hmm.
use that, and then they're not gonna reinvest that back into the business. That means they don't have a upward going model for the business. They don't know how to get the seed, and
Yep.
essentially after 5 years they are at the same place where they were 5 years back because they were withdrawing all the money. And then
Or worse, actually.
yeah, or the worst, yeah. So what is your final suggestion? Because I think we had hard stop as well in, let's say,
Yep.
5 minutes. So I would love your suggestion for those business owners or agency owners, or how to maintain that cash flow for reinvesting back to the business.
Yeah. So it's all one wallet, right? And so one of the founders of Infinite Banking says, don't steal the peas from your own grocery store. Why would you, if you're, and this is why people get it twisted on the banks. They're like, yeah, but why are you paying? It's your money. Why would you do that? Right. I'm like, well, banks do it all the time, except it's a home equity line of credit. Right. Now, if you're borrowing to go buy an asset, so I use my policy to personally owned to buy my office condo, right, that I'm standing in right now. Used it as I did a 50-50 split on the mortgage using
Okay,
the policy. And then guess who's the renter?
you,
Me,
yeah.
right? My business, though. My business is now paying me rent. Why would I charge myself rent?
Yeah,
Because I'm going to then put that back in and I'm going to use that money again to go buy another asset.
there we go.
All the while, because of doing this, my depreciation on the real estate helped offset taxes
Yeah,
because of thinking smart. And if you're borrowing money, you have to think of yourself as the banker that's going to break your kneecaps if you don't pay them. And you're also going to give yourself grace. If it's COVID, you're not going to be like, hey, I need you to pay it back.
exactly.
You got to balance those two. But I
Yeah,
always tell people, don't run a nonprofit. If you want to run a business and be smart about being the lender to yourself.
exactly.
That's why you have to have a good team around you to be able to educate and say, hey, you're being stupid here. And I've had the heart to hearts with some of them. I'm like, dude, you've been running this business, Amazon business, for a while. It's not working well. You need to talk to somebody. And I've had years of conversation, and eventually it didn't work out. He was the guy that kept pulling. I was like, you didn't even talk to your wife yet. You need to. This is not good. You need to go get a job.
Yeah,
And honestly, that's the hard part. Is we want to be an idealistic world, but we have to be
realistic.
realistic. And sometimes
Absolutely.
you just got to shut it down. And Gordon Ramsay, you know, going in there and just, it all sucks, and that's okay. Um,
Great suggestions, Brandon. I love it. If you want to conclude the conversation, yeah.
yeah. So with all of this, guys, I know we didn't get a lot of comments. Oh, actually, somebody did comment in here. I don't know who that was.
I think it's on YouTube probably. They are just
Oh,
spamming.
yeah. So if you have comments, send them in right there. I wanted to show this real quick, just real quick. I know we got to run, but let me share this page. This is his website. So I'm going to put it in the chat there, or you can find it here. But hamidpro.com. He has a book, right? So totally check out the book. And especially if you're an agency, we would really love. And if you hear about it from me or from this video, share it. Tell him that you heard about it from this. But totally go to this website and check it out. See, because I bet you, if you're not even an agency owner, you'll learn a lot, right? Because most of it's psychology. And then he has a software development services as well. this is softwaredeveloperpro.com. I mean, like, how easy can that be for, how did you get that website?
Yeah.
That's pretty simple. So anyway, totally join us for that. And if you guys have any questions, you want to reach out, we're all part of a group of business owners called Gathering the Kings. Yes, I do pay money to be a part of a group of amazing entrepreneurs who are doing amazing stuff. If you want to be a part of that, reach out to me. I can share more about the benefits of that, but it's about being around people who are going to level you up. And that's what Hamid and me want to do for you. So cool. Well, you guys have a good one, and we will see you, I think, in a couple of days. We're doing a live state of the world or state of finance. I don't know, something crazy in 2 days. So check out our channel in a couple of days. Thanks, Hamid.
Thank you, guys. Take care.